Hello everyone. Today we have Adnan Khan with us from K9 School in our third episode of FBS Talkies. Adnan is the founder of K9 School. He started his work in 2014, I guess, and established India's first, I think, official dog training school, which is K9 School in 2016. So today we're going to talk about being a responsible pet parent, which involves understanding your dog from the point you get him as a puppy till the time he grows old, understanding his body language, what are the things to note when he's growing up, how to figure out his behavior, and finally we're going to focus on the upcoming Diwali event, which is of course a terrifying moment, a terrifying day for dogs, and how we can help our domestic dogs as well as stray dogs to cope up with it. So we have Adnan Khan with us. Adnan, tell us something about K9 School.
So K9 School was a facility, one of its kind, that was started back in 2016. Before that, from 2014 to 2016, I was doing home visits and seminars in other properties. Eventually, I decided to set up a one-of-a-kind center which didn't exist in India before that, where dogs can come in and transform their behaviors. People can come in and learn about dogs as well. Eventually, we started creating trainers in India, where today we have over 250 graduates all over India, Nepal, Singapore included, and we are trying to sort of improve the standards of dog training in the country today, whether it's as a facility, whether it's as an academic institution, and educating pet parents in general. I'm also chief consultant for Parliament Security Dogs now. I'm also heading Friendico's training and behavior. We have a not-for-profit initiative called K9 Healers, which is taking rescue dogs, turning them into therapy dogs or sniffer dogs, and make them suitable for the society, basically. So these are a few things we've been doing over time now for dogs.
So this is one of a kind initiative, guys, and if you want to be a part of K9 School, if you want to be a trainer, you know who to contact. You can, Adnan, what's your website? Where can people contact you?
You can log in straight to www.k9school.in, and we have Insta, Facebook and YouTube by the name of K9 School India. My name's Adnan Khan, both on Instagram and Facebook. We have many other pages like K9 Healers, Ignis Grande, K9 School Adoptions. Once you're on our website, you'll have full access to all of those, and you can take it up from there.
And in case you guys become a good trainer, I'll be able to hire you. We are actually looking for trainers, and we'll be collaborating soon with Adnan probably. And if you are one of the students who are into learning dog training, you know who to contact after you get graduated, which is us. So anyway, Adnan, what are the common problems that you have faced in your journey, starting from I think the moment we decide that we want to get a puppy, आई थिंक हमारे मन में बस एक ही चीज़ आती है कि एक पपी है, वो छोटा है, वो क्यूट है, उसे प्यार करेंगे, फिर वो बड़ा होता रहेगा और हमारा काम अपने आप होता रहेगा और एवरीथिंग विल बी लाइक बहुत अच्छा. बट आई डोंट थिंक दैट्स द वे टू गो. दैट्स द वे टू गो अबाउट इट. आई थिंक रिसर्च चाहिए होता है. यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु रेज देयर पपीज लाइक बेबीज. आई पर्सनली फील you can love them as much as you love your baby, but always raise them like a dog.
Absolutely.
Because they are dogs. So give us some insight on this tip.
One of the main things I would like to say is that what people are sort of making a mistake on from the very beginning is impulse purchases, which I've covered over a long time. Impulse adoption or purchase. Adoption में चलिए ऐसा नहीं होता that impulsive है कि photo देखी and adopt कर लिया, but even there people are desperate to find homes for dogs. Somebody messages me for for adopting a dog. We are keen to just place them. You and I, we don't do it, but most other rescuers will just, first person that applies to them, they'll just give the Akita to like a first timer, give an aggressive indie to a first timer. So wrong placement, wrong adoption. Biggest problem, I think 80% of new pup parents are the ones who are commercially getting hold of dogs, and major chunk, like all 9 out of 10 are the wrong selection for their house. Most people shouldn't be getting labs, shouldn't be getting beagles. Nowadays they shouldn't be getting chow chows, but they are sort of just picking up these things from their neighbor, from their friends, or just the physical appeal. So उसमें क्या होता है कि आपने एक puppy जो आपको cute लगा या इंटरनेट पे कुछ अच्छा लगा, you got the pup. Till 4 months, everything is small and cute and cuddly. You don't realize the situation. A dog like a chow chow, Akita, Tibetan Mastiff will start to show their true side by 4 months. Indie and GSD will start to show their inherent territorial behaviors by 7, 8, 9 months, right? These toy breeds that we have, the Shih Tzus and Maltese, because they are overly manhandled, by 1.5 years they become snappy. Like it's very predictable for me.
Because they're insecure. They become insecure.
It's a threshold. Like, you know, if someone is tapping on my shoulder every day for 1 year, right? 1 year later I will slap them.
Yeah.
Right? But if someone is doing it once in a year to 10 years baad limitation aayegi basically. So our toy dogs, because we don't always lift them up, they are tolerant for 2 to 3, 4 years. But the ones who come in brand new homes, they are just passing from one hand to another, They're not really like
and
getting.
You know, I think I haven't seen a lot of them walking also.
Walking, yeah. They
They
don't know
go for
leash,
walk,
they don't know collar.
The only time they're on the floor is for the 10 seconds where they have to poop, फिर वो गोदी में वापस जाते हैं.
वापस घूमते हैं. They always get carried around, so they haven't really seen the world as a normal dog. So main problem would be wrong selection, impulse selection, that you know, let's say kids at home are crying and you want a dog. Today you call someone, WhatsApp पे photos आई हैं आपको, and शाम तक ही आपने पैसे देके dog
घर पे deliver करके जाते हैं.
So that is where the wrong you know, step starts already. From there what happens is, like you already said, that pup एक बार ले लिया, उसके बाद they don't really value upbringing or training or any such thing. They want the pup to raise their own selves, automatic upbringing जिसे कहते हैं, कि ये लो बॉल दीवार पे मार के खुद ही खेल लो, ये खाना पड़ा है चुपचाप बैठ जाओ, उठो, सो के उठो, खाना खा लो, बाहर जाओ, सही जगह पी कर लो, everything, like, you know, they basically, like I like to put it, people want कि pup के साथ एक you know, full basic training software install करके भेजो मुझे, sit down, stand, toilet training, leash walking, सब डाल के दे दो basically. So because they don't understand it the same way as they understand humans, for any human to perfect any practice, you know, for a doctor to become a doctor, it takes them 32 to 35 years. For a lawyer to stand in their own first independent case, minimum 25 years of age. Till then we don't trust them. Even for dog trainers, like I start training them today, and 2 years down the line I might trust my dogs or my senior, you know, situation with them. For a pup, the day they come, third day we start saying sit, no, Jackie.
Oh, that it becomes their nicknames.
Exactly. Their name is No, and if you want some behavior from them, you'll have to ask 6 times. Sit will be the command. It's not sit. Basically. And all this expectation, disappointment, pressure, and overly using words towards an animal who just wags their tail and lives happily. We are giving them essays and speeches and paragraphs to comprehend from the very first day, and that's where the whole communication gap between new pet parents and dogs are coming.
And I think so. What a lot of people don't understand is that dogs are conditioning animals. The less we speak, the less words we speak, and the more actions we attach with those words, will fetch us a better relationship. Rather than, you know, telling them, "Hi, मेरा बच्चा कितना अच्छा है, चलो उसको आज बाहर लेके चलते हैं." उन्हें नहीं समझ आ रहा होगा, उन्हें probably चलो समझ आ जाएगा बस पूरे सेंटेंस.
वो भी through practice, right? It's not like puppy first day आया तो उन्हें चलो पता है.
जब उसे 5 महीने हो गए चलो के टाइप की लीश में,
they know कि चलो के बाद there's a process और मुझे बाहर लेके जाते हैं. So that becomes a command itself. You know, when people think that I open a packet of chips or I say chalo or I say you know, bad boy or leash, these are the commands because with repetition they have learned the behavior. Similarly, you have to train pee, sit, down, sleep, crate, everything can be trained the same way basically.
So what is the importance of you know, crate training dog? And after COVID especially, I think I've also seen, you've also seen a lot of anxiety cases in dogs. And matlab, agar earlier I used to get about, I think 3 or 4 cases of separation anxiety out of 10. Now I'm seeing 8 to 9.
Right.
Why is it happening after COVID?
Right.
We know the answer, but we want the audience
to see it. So one of the main things that I would like to say is, first of all, in the lockdown, what happened is that everyone became more, you know, aligned with their home. Either they were working from home, or they were changing jobs, or, you know, any such situation, whether it's medical or situational or lockdown, that they were all tied down to the household. Suddenly, the dog who would only see their owner a few hours in a day, they were seeing them 4, 6 months months at an entire stretch, basically. That created a dependency. Suddenly, when the owners have to go away, that obviously gives a lot of separation anxiety. That's the primary thing. Secondly, anxiety in general got built up because in lockdown, humans saw this as an opportunity कि ओ हमें बाहर जाना अलाउड ही नहीं है, तो अब हम डॉग को घुमाएं कैसे, राइट? और 6-6 महीने, 1-1 साल डॉग को रोड पे ही नहीं ले जा रहे, घुमा ही नहीं रहे। 1 महीने पहले लॉकडाउन खुल गया, वो अभी भी वही बहाने से डॉग वॉक पे नहीं जा रहा है। 1 साल हो गया, डॉग अभी भी घूम रहा नहीं क्योंकि कोविड में मना कर दिया था, राइट? सो दीज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स ऑटोमेटिकली हैव separated the bond between the, again, human and the dog. Main thing that we are seeing is that suddenly now everyone's going back to their offices, everyone's going back to work. 3 of the most common trends, most painful trends that I have seen is, first of all, the first few lockdowns when it happened, everyone started taking pups, new dogs, new pups and everything. Within the second lockdown, they were abandoning, dumping, and some were even reselling. Like they would buy a husky for 40,000 and they would sell it for 65, saying खाना, bed, dog को 3 महीने हमने पाला है, हम आपको discount में दे रहे हैं. And then when they would abandon a dog, they would come to, you know, the 2 of us and say कि we would like to donate you our Labrador. Like we were sitting, you know, dying to get someone's ruined Labrador at 8 months, and like what we'll do with it, basically. So these are the, you know, 2 sad trends: the sudden increase of procuring the dogs, then sudden increase of abandonment. अब इस सब के बीच में there was this third trend which was basically like over pampering when you are there. Then when your boss calls you, then totally neglecting them. So there was no balance. One day you're fully cuddling the dog, one day you're not there altogether. What I would like to say as a replacement to this is that even when you are at home, when you're working from home or anything, have the same rules and structure that 6 a.m. out of crate, 9 a.m. back into the crate. This is the sleep time, this is the food time. This cannot be that when you are home, you totally destroy the rules of the household for the dog. Then when you're away, you're expecting to have all those rules automatically into the dog. When you ask me about crate training, I've actually been one of the first advocates of crate training in India since maybe 2014 or 2015, where I would be, you know, subject to even physiological threats and attacks, let alone the phone and Facebook and internet threats and abuses, but that we will come to you, we'll take your dogs, we'll do this to you, there were actual physiological threats to me for introducing this concept, which has been very popular in Europe, UK, US and all that. And it's very simple. It's like giving everyone their cabin, cubicle, room kind of their own space. And since using and pushing for crate training, we have fixed resource guarding, we have fixed separation anxiety, we have fixed toilet habits, we are able to have a multiple dog household without fights, without conflict. We are able to have dogs in a home with infants, whereas the dog could be aggressive but no bites, no conflicts are happening. So crate training for me is one of the most vital ways of raising your dog. I think I've seen you practice the same thing.
So I think, you know what happens, we don't realize that dogs are territorial in nature. But what we fail to understand here is if you're talking about the stray dog, जो हम बोलते हैं हर कुत्ता अपनी गली का शेर होता है, तो it's because that location is providing him food, shelter, water, safety. But when it comes to pet dogs, I think we become the territory because we are the primary source of food, water, shelter, security, rather than a place in the house. So this is how I like to explain people कि भाई अगर आपके रूम का घर से मैं आप ही का बेडरूम हटा दूँ, ठीक है, या फिर आपको 5000 स्क्वायर फीट का बेडरूम दूं, कमरा दो, एरिया दो, उसमें बेड रख दूं.
Exactly.
In both the scenarios, you will be messed up.
Absolutely.
Because एक में बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा एरिया, which I'm referring to this because some people say कि 20 by 20
kennel should be as big as a room. We have a room, why should we have a kennel? You know, so
first point is जहाँ पे रूम है ही नहीं.
Exactly.
Which means आपका जो domestic dog के साथ इस time situation हो रही है, doesn't have his own personal space.
Yeah.
So he doesn't feel secure at any specific space. He feels secure only when we are there.
Exactly.
So I think this is the problem that we need to get. We need to make our dogs more independent. If we want them to be strong, not go into anxiety, stress.
Right.
And because we both run a boarding, we understand that when such a dog comes to a boarding, they get stressed.
Absolutely.
And even if they're stressed and they're getting full meals, वो उनका weight loss हो गई.
Yeah, they turn out skinny. And we are facing currently 3-4 dogs who are performing great. They have great food drive. They're doing very well. But because of the general stress of being in a new environment, they're not putting on weight and they're eating twice as much as they would eat at home. And the parents are always suspecting that I am like sort of stealing that dog's chicken and rice, and I'm giving extra water to save some, I don't know what money money I would save from that. And that owner has 2 dogs where one is very fit and very fat and very healthy. That Rottweiler is not really losing weight. He's also anxious, but the GSD is getting skinnier over time. So they are actually still able to confidently say that I'm feeding the Rottweiler because I like him, and I'm stealing that German Shepherd's food because I don't know, I'm short of chicken in my house or something like that. So people always suspect, people's bad upbringing is putting us in a liability when you give us a very anxious, nervous, badly raised dog and you want us to give them the luxury in our place. We are going to do that. We're going to give the best food, shelter, staff care, luxury and all of those things.
Physical stimulation.
But what if they start scratching their paws, they injure themselves, we are accountable. What if they don't eat or get skinny, we are accountable. What if they have like stomach issues because of separation? All these things are because you have been badly raising and pampering your dogs at home. And the moment they go to a boarding, even 2 days of the dog getting skinny or upset or injuring their own selves would lead to bad reviews of the business, whereas when the dog goes back, they're as unstable as you gave them to us, basically.
Yes. So, which is why we're talking about, the right way to raise a puppy. I think a couple of points are regarding crate training. It's very important that we crate train the puppy from the moment we get him. It will help him in the susu potty training. It will help him become more stronger when he's left alone. Because कभी kennel में छोड़ना पड़ा, कुछ हुआ है, और मैं तो वो भी नहीं बोलता. मैं बोलता हूँ what if he's left out in a situation that you can't foresee. घर लॉक हो गया और आपका डॉग अंदर है.
Exactly.
ठीक है. At least he'll be stronger, he'll be smarter, he'll be able to do something.
You don't want the dog to chew wires, run into a glass pane or something like that, injure themselves because they don't know how to survive without the human.
Yeah. So I think when you get a puppy, start leaving them alone for small periods of time. Gradually increase that time. And I think never push your puppy into a room or a crate out of some kind of as a punishment.
Absolutely.
Because a jail can be, a 4 squared wall can be a room and a jail. Depends on who has the key.
Right.
And the freedom.
Yeah, but I personally think even this concept of timeout and sent to a room for bad behavior came from new age American parenting back in the day, right? 10-15 years ago, when we were maybe like 5-10 years of age, the new parents and kids younger to us, our younger siblings, were sort of being raised in that timeout kind of concept. Honestly, it has not worked. I'm an introvert, and if you ask me, if I realize that maybe smashing some window will lead me to be in a room alone for long hours, right? And if I don't do that, if I behave well, I'm supposed to be with people and interact with human beings, I might become naughtier because that might be my reward, right? What if you have
we are reinforcing the
What if you have a territorial Spitz who wants their own space, and they realize that every time I bite someone, then I get to go to the crate, otherwise they never send me to the crate, right? So what if you create aggression out of that, thinking timeout means they should sit alone and think about what they have done. They can think about what they have done while they are doing it also, or before they do it too. Once they have done it, there's no point thinking about it anymore because
I think it's also important to know that puppies का ऐसा नहीं है कि अभी कुछ करा तो 1 घंटे बाद तक हम उन्हें पनिशमेंट देंगे. उन्हें याद ही नहीं रहेगा, उन्हें पता ही नहीं होगा क्या हो रहा है. I think punishment is to be followed right after the
at the very behavior itself.
Otherwise they don't understand, because I've seen a lot of people do this. कभी teething में extreme कट गया तो आधे घंटे के बाद उसे मारा था.
Exactly.
जब देखा कि दर्द
first they'll show the damaged item, then they'll sit the dog down. First they'll recall the dog and sit the dog. Then they'll show a wallet. They'll say पता है कितना महंगा मिलता है, कहाँ से दुबई से लाया था. Then they'll whack the dog. So what they have done is they have punished a very good recall. They have punished a very good calm sit for their expensive material to be destroyed because they left it. They didn't crave the pup and they didn't exercise the pup. And like you said, like 1 hour later, so what happens is it destroys the relationship between dog and human within the first 6 months, right? We are just running after them, telling them what not to do. One of the primary tips that I would like to give for raising a pup is set them up for success. 2 things is, number 1, that if you have a schedule correctly, like today if you decide that 6 a.m. is the pee and poop, 7 is the walk, 7:30 is the fetch, 8 is the training, 8:30 is the crate. Now once the dog is in the crate, there are no mistakes that are happening from 8:30 to 2 p.m. You can do your meetings, you can go to office, you can have your calls, no wires are being chewed, no wallet is being ripped, no chance of you scolding the pup. Now the moment you open the pup again, set them up to the right places, put them in the peace spot, reward them. Call them to you when they are hungry, reward them for responding to the name. Do all the right things at the right time, put them away when you're busy, instead of just letting them be, waiting for them to make a mistake, then the whole family accumulating from all over, running after them, scolding them, and then ignoring them when the puppy is asleep, then nobody pays attention. Calmness should be rewarded
all the time.
Mostly calmness is ignored because the pup is boring. Whenever they're sleeping or calm, people just ignore them. When they're fussy eaters, when they're not eating food, when they're howling, whining, when they're barking, snapping, aggressive, almost always everyone in the house starts showering them with attention, and the dogs realize that this is the way, this is the human culture. If I abuse and misbehave, then I'm famous, and if I behave myself, if I'm polite, nobody really
Because
cares
they don't
about
understand. We have to understand that dogs don't understand English.
Yeah.
What they'll do is what's happening in their head is, जब तक वो काम थे, they were lying down, nothing was happening, nobody was paying them attention. The moment they chewed a wire, suddenly everybody gathered and started doing something.
Yeah, they're learning from results, right? Basic results. So the basic results, even kids, for example, I'll use a 3-year-old's example. There is one kid who might, draw something, however good or bad, and bring it to us. Because we want to channelize that craft, we'll say, oh my God, what a great job. Most others who are, bored of it, they'll say, oh, great, I'm busy, leave me alone. So they won't do that. Now, what if the kid says some word that they shouldn't say? 2-3 people will start giggling. 2-3 people will say, oh, what a bad thing. But the kid is getting attention worth 6 human beings for saying that, as opposed to making any kind of drawing and everyone starts to celebrate that. That kid automatically will realize that if I want adults' attention, I want to say something controversial. If I sit silently on the side and make my drawing, I'm not, I'm not interesting whatsoever. And so this is the, whole game of attention that needs to be played with a puppy, dog, or even toddlers, which we are all failing at more or less.
And it's important that we always reward the right behavior.
Absolutely.
I think the primary reason for all this mess up which are happening with puppies and when they are going into dogs is the fact that when they are small, जैसे ही कुछ गलत होगा हम उनके पीछे छड़ी लेके भागेंगे, न्यूज़पेपर लेके भागेंगे, हम चिल्लाने लगेंगे, 10 चीज़ें करते हैं. But suppose he comes to us and he just sits in front of us. What we'll do, we'll just pat him on the lip and we'll say good boy, अच्छा हो गया. ऐसा नहीं है. We need to reward such behavior. Keep rewards handy, keep a clicker handy. The moment you see that your dog is doing a down by himself, reward that behavior. Anything, the dog gets something to you, he fetches something, reward that behavior. So, reward the natural behavior that you want out of your dog, and then eventually it will become easier for you to, train that thing into a proper command.
Absolutely.
And you can use luring, you can use behavior shaping. There are n number of methods, while raising a puppy, while training them. Research is a lot of importance here. I think घर का size, हमारी खुद की एक्टिविटी, आई थिंक सबसे बड़ा ब्लंडर जो मैंने देखा है, जिस हिसाब से लोगों ने बीगल्स लेना शुरू करे. एक प्राइमरीली हंटिंग डॉग, स्मॉल एनिमल्स के लिए बना था वो घर में है, वो सबसे ज़्यादा हाउलिंग केसेस भी आ रहे हैं कि इधर उधर घुस के फर्नीचर फाड़ देता है. They don't realize they were meant for this.
Yeah, they were supposed to be open for in forests and 5 acres and hundreds of acres. Despite them being small, them in a pack of 20-30 beagles can kill a fox, can kill all the wildlife around. So they have to use their nose, they have to use their jaws, and they will draw blood if their energy is not channelized properly. So like you were mentioning about a very important festival coming up, not just for the human beings but also for the for the dogs in question, because generally this becomes a topic of discussion all over, whether it's brands, whether it's people concerned about dogs like us, but a lot of misinformation is there as well. That's why I just wanted to bring this up before we start about discussing this thing about कि दिवाली आ रही है, dogs डर जाएंगे, उनको बचाना कैसे है दिवाली से. That whole narrative should change a little bit. Before we go to that, because today whoever is getting a brand new dog, first we have to tell them that your dog's not supposed to be scared of sound.
Exactly.
They have muscle, like we don't have muscle, they have muscle where they can close their ear when the sound is too loud. Okay, this way dogs can sleep next to a music festival or a concert happening, and they are fast asleep.
And I think they do also. I mean, I've watched all concert, like all TVs on movies, and movies on the TV. As well as football games वगैरह में I see on TV and home theater, and my dog is always sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. I train dogs for security services, private and government both. One of the main things that we are deploying is for IPL and stadium security. Now, stadium is the loudest. It's even louder than concerts at times because it has that Colosseum effect, right? It's not just the speakers and acoustics, but it's just that surround effect. And the humans there also have these inflatable things which come off, which can look like a stick or a tug, right? And people are just screaming non-stop, and a well-trained security dog will just be fast asleep next to all of that crowd because they know to be able to close their ear muscles as they want. Now, in our facilities as well, the dogs who are pro, the dogs who are regulars, will be sound asleep next to a dog howling their lungs out, right? How is that possible with the same dog who you say that, when there's a firework in the building across, then he's really, really scared? Right, this is something that again through anthropomorphizing we are creating. Humans are creating inside dogs. We are assuming that my infant child will get scared of sound, so this pup is my infant child, is a rendition of my infant child, so they are supposed to be scared of Diwali. The funniest blogs and articles with these big brands, I won't name any, but they would be like, how to protect your Labrador from Diwali fireworks. Okay,
so I think I'll have to interrupt here. This term means imposing a human feeling or a human emotion to someone else. Could be a dog, could be a cat. Basically, an emotion that may not necessarily be in them from the beginning, but we assume that it is, and then that's how we
through a limited mindset that we are thinking that everything around us thinks like a person. Even the light has feelings and it's missing its mother. Even the bird outside must be jealous of something here. So all creatures, animate and inanimate objects, they all exist and they have guilt, envy, jealousy, regret, all those things that human beings have, because of which we are ruining a lot of animal lives. Right. Coming back to the sound thing, we actually train and raise our dogs. I have this program called Ignis Grande Foundation program for puppies as well, where not just for security, not just for military, but I take any pup and we put them through our foundation program in such a way that we expose them to sights, sounds, smells, surface, and all kinds of stimulus, all kinds of experiences that by 4 months of age you can fire an actual gun, even an automatic caliber, and the puppy will be sound asleep, right? Whereas like I was talking about Labradors, Golden Retrievers, Spaniels, they are gun dogs. This is a group called gun dog category, where a gunman is supposed to fire a shotgun or a rifle next to their lab who's sleeping. Then the duck or bird or whoever they were shooting at falls off, and then they wake up their retriever and send them.
I think, but the best example, if people want to see this live, is watch the show Crown.
They
do it.
They have the gun dogs.
They give hundreds of birds in that show, and they always have gun dogs around them.
And they send the selected one basically. So imagine now there are dogs in the world who are assistants to the gunmen, and their very same bloodlines sitting in our homes in Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, who are apparently going to hide under the sofa, under the blanket, and they'll start trembling when fireworks happen. So I also want to have a balance to the statement. I'm not saying that they are not scary. For the dogs who have been wrongly raised and who have been raised to be sensitive and fearful and overly emotional and underconfident because of our lack of socializing, they will be scared today. Okay, but if you have a pup, you can build them in such a way that they are surrounded by laddies and rockets and they don't say anything. We train for PSA and all our dogs are, totally fine-tuned to gunshots, fireworks, water, any such,
I think it's about environmental socialization. So whenever you get a puppy, make sure that while he's getting raised, after 2.5 months, he's exposed to a lot of things. He's exposed to water, he's exposed to different kinds of smell, he's exposed to different kinds of noises, and he's positively exposed. If I shoot a gun and I slap my dog, so the next time I'm going to shoot a gun, the dog's going to think I'll get slapped.
Absolutely.
But if I shoot a gun and I start playing with my dog, I start feeding him,
Absolutely.
I positively associate that action, then my dog will be in a much better hands. He'll be more confident when all these things are happening. So, as we discussed about Diwali, if you have a puppy, start your environmental socialization. Start with small noise. Don't just burst a big cracker in front of your dog.
Yeah, a small balloon at the end of the room when they're having food. Basic exercise.
Basic exercise, and reinforce that again and again, so that he develops the threshold for some specific kind of sound, and then you can keep increasing that sound, and you'll realize that the dog is not getting anxious anymore. Other than that, dogs who are already adults now, this activity will take a lot of time. So what we suggest is you can take ashwagandha. Ashwagandha, helps your dog become calmer. It helps them think straight. It makes them more confident. There's a whole clinical study about ashwagandha helping animals reducing stress and anxiety. So find out any supplement that has ashwagandha, and with the help of a veterinarian, you can start giving them 1 month before Diwali starts, because it takes time. So I think that's it for today. We have a lot of information about Diwali as well as puppy raising. So Adnan, we usually ask a question at the end from our audience at the end, because at the end of the series we're going to give them some kind of hamper. So I think today's question will be, how are dogs different to humans when it comes to responding to a loud noise? What is that one thing that is different? You can DM us, you can comment in the post, you can let us know however you want to, and the one person who answers all the questions in the series will get a big hamper from our side. And once again, we thank Adnan Khan from K9 School.
Thank you so much.
And we wish you a good puppy parenting, so that your dogs become good doggies of the doggy world. Thank you.